You believe history repeats itself. You believe the average lifespan of a major civilization is a steady, predictable 250 years. You are wrong. We are not living through a simple cycle of rise and fall. We are living through an acceleration. Quantitative data from 2.5 millennia reveals a terrifying new trend. For every century that passes, the expected lifespan of a newly formed nation, empire, or major institution decreases by roughly 12 years. We are not just collapsing, the system is structurally failing to keep pace with reality. This downward trend points to a theoretical endpoint in the year 4111 AD, a singularity of volatility. But to fix the future, we have to understand the mechanism that is killing the past. Every civilization is a machine built on layers moving at different speeds. The theorist Stuart Brand called it pace layering. On the outside, you have fashion and commerce, volatile, changing every few months. At the center, you have governance and culture, although deliberate, only changing over centuries. The health of a society relies on the beautiful tension between them. As the saying goes, fast learns, slow remembers. The fast layers innovate, the slow layers provide stability, but today, that tension is a fatal fracture. Technology, our material culture, is now compounding at a hyperbolic rate. Law, regulation, and core beliefs, our non-material culture, are still moving at the speed of a horse and buggy. This is the cultural lag, a term coined a century ago, and it is now an extinction-level threat. Our institutions, designed to manage the geopolitical realities of the 20th century, are fundamentally incapable of processing the hyper-globalized, algorithmically driven data of the 21st. They are processing a new reality through an obsolete lens. Compounding this problem is a cold biological truth known as Planck's principle. A revolutionary new scientific truth rarely triumphs by convincing its opponents. It triumphs because its opponents eventually die. Profound institutional change has a biological speed limit, a generational constraint. In a world changing this fast, waiting for a funeral is now a lethal liability. Sociologists define the birth of society as emergence, where millions of individual, unpredictable actions aggregate to form something entirely new. These emergent systems can be things like a stock market, a language, or a nation-state. But once the state is formed, a powerful counterforce kicks in. Top-down causation, or structural determinism. The state begins to dictate behavior to the individual in order to maintain order. The free-flowing emergent organism begins to fossilize as rigidity replaces flexibility. For society to remain healthy, there must be a constant, vital feedback loop called emergence. The state's laws must emerge back down into the minds of people who then choose to sustain, modify, or dismantle the structure. But what happens when the macro structure becomes too large and rigid to absorb new micro-level innovations? The feedback loop severs, causing a desynchronization between objective reality and the collective interpretation of that reality. The system can no longer process reality fast enough to remain relevant and becomes an anti-emergent state, deterministic, fossilized, and unable to reform organically. Such an anti-emergence entity can only be shattered by collapse, not gently reformed from within. Researchers in Cliodynamics fed the lifespans of global empires into a massive model to move beyond theory. Their findings revealed two critical truths about how empires fall. First, the exponential nature. Empire lifespans follow a memoryless exponential distribution. This means an empire is just as vulnerable to collapse at year 50 as at year 300. Its age does not protect it from sudden failure. Second, the acceleration. Plotting empire duration against start date over 2,500 years produced a clear linear trend. The linear regression yielded a statistically significant gradient of approximately minus 0.1. That number is the mathematical fingerprint of institutional decay. It quantifies the explicit rate at which institutional durability has been eroding. Statistically, an entity founded in 500 BCE was predicted to last about twice as long as an equivalent modern entity. This negative slope aligns with hyperbolic acceleration. Historical transitions are compressing over time. Our governance models are losing the race against time as the intervals between major transitions shrink. The theoretical end of this trajectory, the singularity of volatility in 4111 AD, is not a hard prophecy, it is a heuristic warning. It is the point where the lifespan of a static state hits zero because the underlying material reality has already mutated into a new paradigm before the state can even finish formulating a response. To survive the steepening gradient, the very architecture of human organization must mutate. The static, geographically bound, century-spanning state is obsolete. Our future survival depends on a necessary transition to hyperfluid, highly temporary administrative networks. These entities assemble and disassemble algorithmically, existing only for the precise duration of a specific crisis or task. The integration of artificial intelligence into governance is not a sci-fi fantasy, it is an evolutionary imperative. It is an attempt to compress the information lag from years down to seconds. If human macrostructures are to endure, they must learn to flow at the exact same velocity as the micro-level parts they seek to encompass. The age of the long, slow, rigid empire is mathematically over. The age of instantaneous, adaptive governance is all that remains. Can AI truly govern at the speed of a crisis, or will the future be a constant, chaotic flux? What is the longest lasting institution in your life? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the macro-sociology of history.